Let's just say it's worth 330. What do you think a wholesaler would offer you? Well, I got the huge offer of.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Doug Rogers.
This is Russell Rogers. We're the Rogers team with Keller Southlake. We're here to talk DFW real estate. Doug, what do you got for us today?
Well, I got big news. Got this in the mail today and this in the mail today. Both of them telling me they're going to buy my house. This one's from, let's just not say who they are. But they're going to buy the house. They're going to give me all cash. They're going to make it easy for me to sell them a house. And then got a backup offer right here in the mail. It says, I want to buy your house. Now, this one says which house they're talking about. This one didn't say. They're just going to buy my house. And I'm just wondering, should I just, say, write me a check and move out? Or, should I take these deals? Because these wholesalers, they're going to buy my houses from me.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great, right? Just selling a house easy, your biggest asset or some of your biggest assets, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a lot of the time, just selling it through the mail. That sounds like a great idea.
Well, I got a couple of calls yesterday. I could sell it over the phone, too.
Yeah.
I asked them, said, now you're going to buy my house from me over the phone without having seen it. Yes, sir. We're going to give you an all-cash offer. I said, well, that's great. Write it up, send it over, but I hadn't got it yet. I think I made them mad when I told them I'd been selling real estate for 30 years, so they quit and they hung up.
Well, I actually got an offer from someone like that in our local area. So I have an offer right here. It's actually the first page of that contract.
Which house is that?
This is the Watauga house.
Okay. That house is worth what? $350?
Probably around 330 right now.
Okay.
It kind of last summer it got up to about 330. I think it went down a little bit through kind of the holidays and everything. I think it's back up to that roughly. I don't look all the time. It doesn't matter to me. I'm keeping it. I got a 2-year lease, right? So, but I did get this offer. So.
How much?
Or for the people out there, think about if you had a $300,000 house that was a rental that was basically refurbished inside and out, pretty much. It needs some new flooring in the living room and the kitchen. And let's just say it's worth 330. What do you think a wholesaler would offer you? Well, I got the huge offer of 185 on a 330. So you think I should take that deal?
No, I can't believe you're not doing that deal. But let's be honest. I'll give you 195 right now, and I'll throw in a case of wine.
Yeah, and that's basically it, right? Where's all the juice going? So there's only so much juice in this lemon, and who's getting all of it? And I don't think it's the seller, which is in this case me, because that's 145 low, I think. Probably.
I have a close association with someone who was doing all the closings for one of the big corporate home buyers. This company's traded on the stock exchange. They were the big original corporate buyer, buying hundreds of homes. I actually tracked it for a while. They were buying approximately 300 homes. Let me rephrase that. They were selling 300 homes in the Metroplex pre-COVID. And this company would go make you an offer, and then they would do an inspection. And a few weeks or a week before closing, after your bags are packed and you're ready to go, they would come back and say, oh, we're going to need to lower that price because, we got the leaky faucet and the broken window and that ceiling fan's wobbling a little bit. And then once that person was under duress, sometimes they would have to go ahead and sell anyway. But it wasn't a really fair process. And also, what's really not fair about that process is the homes that they did buy. They never turn over that inspection, or it's been my experience that they never really completed the seller's disclosure as accurately as they could. But this big company will remain nameless, and we won't point them out. But if you're out there buying a corporate-owned home, you might want to dig a little deeper and ask a few more questions and ask if there's ever been an inspection on the property and look at the history of the property and make sure your inspector spends a lot of time checking out every detail from top to bottom.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they do a great job of flipping those too, using really high-end materials and making them look great, right?
Well, it's been my experience where I actually went on a listing in Keller over there in Hidden Lakes, and I didn't get the listing. This particular big company offered them a big number on the house. I thought it was too much. And sure enough, this was pre-COVID, and I think this company needed to buy some houses so they could show that they had inventory. And needless to say, they bought it. They didn't clean it. They didn't do anything to it. And I showed that house, that exact same house, a year later after that company had owned it for a year. And, fought my way through the leaves and the cobwebs at the front door. And the house had a little bit of a pungent odor. It'd be interesting to see what it actually sold for, but sometimes they make a mistake. And right now I have a feeling their mistakes are headed south.
Yeah, and that was one that I had too, where it's the only time it's ever happened. But when we got to the door, it had 2 or 3 locks, and I was unlocking them and everything. And before I even started unlocking the doors, I told my client, "You're not going to want this one." And he said, "Why?" And I could already smell the cat pee, which is my least favorite of smells, especially for houses. So before I opened the door, I already told them. And we went in, and they actually had repainted and recarpeted, which is a lot for this particular company. And that's how bad the cat pee was. So.
Well, but let's put in the big picture is this. Someone's buying something from you. Let's say you're the seller. And they're getting you to move out. They're giving you some money. And then they're going to do something with that house. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to make money off of it. They want to turn around and put a coat of paint or put some carpet down, maybe put a countertop in or put some new light fixtures in. They're going to go to the cheapest route on all those and then turn around and flip the house. That's the whole reason. They're not a charity. They're not there to do it for fun. They're there to make money. And so someone who's trying to make money off of your house, why are they doing that? It's a profit thing. So they're not going to offer you fair price. And it's kind of like, why don't we get the highest 3 bidders on your house? Have you ever considered that maybe if you put your house on the market? I put a house on the market recently in the Las Colinas area, and we had multiple offers, had over 8 offers. And we didn't know how high they were going to go until we finally put the house on the market. Now, if this particular client had sold their house based on current comparable sales and, sales going back, you would have probably have sold it for less if you sold it to a wholesaler. They wouldn't want to pay over a list price. So you never know what your highest and best price is until you test the market.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference here to point out as well. So there are house flippers, and you've even flipped houses, and we own several investments that we went in and did a lot of work on. That's totally different from what these people are doing. Wholesalers, a true wholesaler never even wants to own the home. Either they're going to do a double close, which means they're going to own it for a few hours. They close the first deal and they sell it straight to an investor right after that. And all they're doing is sucking out value there. And really, they're the kind of go-between or the middleman. Everybody loves the middleman, right? Don't we want more middlemen in our transactions? And so there's really a difference here. Now, they're not advising the seller. They are simply saying, I'm willing to buy your house for this, or assign it. It says it right here on my offer, or assigns. That means, to me, this person had a clear intention that they never were going to own the home. They're not going to fix it. It's not for them. They are not going to add value. When a flipper, especially good ones, and we know there's bad cases of this, right? But when a good flipper goes in, a lot of times these sellers are distressed. They can't fix up the house. They can't get it to a true market value because it's basically ruined and they don't have the cash. Some life event for them, I'm sure. So a flipper will go in, or like us, we'll fix it up, and then I'm going to own it for 30 years and rent it out. So that's different from these guys. These guys do not want to own this, or they don't seem to have the intention to. They just want to suck out value that you could have obtained otherwise. And on my deal, if you want to talk about, oh, you're a realtor, you're a middleman, I'm an advisor to my client. And like on my deal, for example, he was going to offer me $185 for $330. So you tell me what value they added and why me going with a realtor, even not myself. Let's say I had to pay all the closing costs, right? How I still didn't make out, right? So I always say, if you love money, don't use wholesalers. But, everyone has to make their own choice.
Well, but when we represent a buyer or a seller, we become a fiduciary. Every action we take has to be in the best interest of the client. We're not there to get money for us. We do earn a commission in selling a house or helping a buyer find a house, but we still have to do everything in their best interest, from seeking out value, looking at repairs, financing. Everything we do, every action we take has to be in your best interest.
Yeah, can I just add a little bit here? I got this funny thing on Facebook recently. This is someone I follow in the local area who is a wholesaler. I'm just going to read this. We don't want to show the video for various reasons, but I want to read this. This is as close to word as I could get. And these were his thoughts on wholesaling. I'm going to let y'all know a little real estate secret. Whenever you're working these bigger deals, you got to sound like you're a full-on company. You got to sound like your company has acquisitions and all kinds of positions, front desk, all this to these homeowners, because they're expecting a full company to buy something this big. So I tell all of my homeowners I'm a TC, a transaction coordinator. It takes off the pressure because homeowners always have questions on, how are you going to be paying for this? What kind of financing are you going to use? All these questions. And he didn't say bleeping. So I tell them I'm just a TC. it takes the pressure off of me and allows them to be like, oh, okay, he's just a small part of the company. He don't know. Meanwhile, I'm the TC, I'm the boss, I'm the front desk, all of it, and it works. So I don't know if I had asked him, I wonder what it works means, because I imagine it means I trick them.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is how many deals has he really done? And the other is he telling us the truth at all? I mean, I've seen these guys who they've been to the seminar, or they bought the video at midnight on how to buy houses with nothing down, and they say they do this for a living, but they actually are driving Uber cars and Lyft cars and telling the world that they're real estate moguls. But I don't know if I believe anyone who talks like that with that type of language strikes me as someone that's probably not that experienced.
No, I mean, let's hope not, if that's their intent. And this was actually to launch a new mentorship program he was working on.
Well, so our mentorship program is we're going to teach you how to tell us a lie. We're going to tell you how to lie to your client in your first meeting, and how it's going to set up our business relationship. That's not going to work.
Yeah. So, we've been talking about it a lot. The integrity in real estate, the things that we do, the things that we see that realtors do that aren't right or ethical. And I think we've proven with our stories and with our ideas that we're the ethical ones to use. I think this is just another data point to show that if you want someone, you got to find someone you can trust. That number one is going to look out for you, and number two is competent, and you can trust both. And I don't think wholesalers are trustful on either of those measures.
Well, they just don't have your best interest in mind. Yeah, and in all fairness, that's their job. Their job is to buy your house at the lowest price possible. They don't go in saying, "Oh, let's give them full price, or let's give them over list price, or let's give them fair value." If they gave you fair value, where are they going to make their money? They can't make money at fair value. They have to have a big, deep discount.
That's true. That's the juice they get. And if it's a small amount, it would make sense. But I think we all know that they're trying to maximize their profits. To your point, and I don't think 185 on my 330 is a good data point for them either.
Well, I guess I'm not going to sell them my houses after all. Probably keep these for a little while longer, and maybe sell them down the road. Maybe I'll get you to list one for me if you're still willing to take care of my business when I'm out of town.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sell them, I know a good realtor.
Okay, well, you're good enough. You had a really good mentor. That's all I can tell you. You learned from someone who knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and let's summarize it real quick too. So as we go into the future of real estate with interest rates possibly changing, we just had the Fed meeting. If you start getting desperate about selling your house, you really need to have a conversation with an experienced real estate professional like us, because you got to know where we're going, what the current market looks like, and as things change, have a competent person to work with. Don't get desperate and use a wholesaler and sell your house for 185 and it's worth 330.
And with that, we're going to give you a quick update on the market. The listings are kind of flat right now. Not a lot's changing. In the Grapevine, Keller, Colleyville, Southlake area, the total listings right now are 296. That's pretty much what we were seeing a couple of weeks ago when we were at 304. So not much has changed there. We added 32 listings in the past 7 days, and about 21 went under contract, which is almost identical the last couple of weeks. The Alliance Corridor in the last 7 days, they added 55 listings. 33 have gone under contract in the last 7 days. And the total listing inventory there is at 404. It's holding steady as to what it was the last couple of weeks. I'm kind of disappointed. I really thought we were going to see some new listings, or the volume of listings pick up, but it hasn't started yet. In the Flower Mound, Capel, Highland Village area, the last 7 days, we've added 14 listings. 15 have gone under contract in the last week, and the total list there is about 203. Previously, it had been 202, so nothing's changed there. So the market's pretty fat, with the exception of Frisco, Plano. 79 new listings in the last 7 days. It was at 100 new listings at the last week of August. So for some reason, that number should be flipped. This number should be 110 to 115. So not a lot of houses going on the market in Frisco at the moment. In the last 7 days, 57 have gone under contract, which is fairly consistent with what happened a couple of weeks ago. And total list is 672. A couple of weeks ago, 692. So the market's holding steady in most cases, but even though it's holding steady, that does not feel right. It feels like we should have a few more listings coming online.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting as we move forward here as well, not having those listings come on market. It's been a common theme, right? But with Powell's statements yesterday, which I think could be summarized, everyone can argue, but it was a hawkish non-raise, meaning they're not raising interest rates, which I think was good, definitely in the short term. But his comments were very hawkish. He said several things. I don't have the quotes, but basically that the higher for longer theme was here. He was kind of worried, or was indicating that they did not want inflation to return, and that inflation returning after stopping was a problem that he saw. That was annoying. I don't remember his word, but that was kind of the theme. So I think what the market's going to do, and what we may have already seen a little bit, is that interest rates are going to continue to rise off of that. I don't know if the market was thinking that he was going to raise again, or was going to be more dovish in his statements. I don't really know. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just simply saying what I heard and what I thought, and what we've already kind of seen a little bit of. And so right now, the kind of average 30-year conventional is at 7.47%. So I think again, that's the average in a perfect situation. I think I've heard some anecdotal stuff about 8% rates already for some normal applicants. So we'll see how that turns out. But with his testimony, he didn't raise, which is good. But the hawkishness in his statements, and that's what we've seen even from the equities, stock market going down the last 2 days. So we'll see how that turns out. So we really do need some more listings, or for those rates to go down, to see kind of a more healthy market.
I agree.
So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Please don't use a wholesaler if it's not in your best interest, and we'll continue to watch the market.
Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks for watching. Bye.